Yo, what's up, Freddie? How's it going, man?
What's up, Drew?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, my guy.
So, before we get started with the whole role play thing, I just wanted to quickly discuss the article that we both read, the Forbes one. It was called "Creating Remote Culture: How to Build Human Connection in the Virtual Workplace." So, I kind of felt like it was good for us because it lined up a lot with the textbook and what we were learning in class, especially since we got the managing virtually. And I feel like that lines up, like the article lines up really well with chapter 13 from the book specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Um, yeah. So the one thing that I felt like was really good was how it emphasized that remote culture isn't just about good communication or having Zoom meetings like we're doing right now. It's kind of still about you know, intentionally building systems of connection and appreciation, along with that autonomy, to kind of replace what people are used to experiencing in person, because without a physical space, managers, it's hard and you need to find more creative ways to show people they're being seen, show them that they're still being valued by the company, because a lot of that support is coming from like the background now.
Exactly.
Other- Yeah. Otherwise, people, they're gonna kind of feel disconnected.
Because it's at the end of the day, it's all about the interpersonal relationships with people that really push it.
Hmm.
And I agree, and I think that directly ties into what we learned in chapter 13 and building management skills. Um, it really ties into where managing virtually isn't just about micromanaging or letting go of the standards. It's about creating systems where people can feel supported, seen, and connected, just like you said. So I think that definitely ties into the things that the book was talking about when just referring to a lot of that stuff. But if we're all good with that section,
Hmm.
we could get into this role play.
Okay, man. All right, I'm ready. So, I guess we'll restart our conversation. How's it going, Freddie?
What's up, Drew? How you been
Thank
doing?
you so much.
I seen that you had something that you wanted to go over, just what was been going on with the company.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I just want to say before we get started, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Um, just the whole reason I made this meeting is I've been talking to a few of the team leads at work recently, and I did notice a few things. And I know that you had talked to me before about working on getting the company moving a little bit better now that we're pushing inside of this virtual management direction. I've noticed productivity still high, which is great, obviously, but the issue really is coming from I feel like the energy in the company is off. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I feel like people are working and they're still getting their work done, but they're not really feeling like they're actually a part of a team anymore. And the collaboration is one thing, and kind of just like the more casual motivation, or even just people having fun at work. We're missing like that water cooler talk, and we're missing like a lot of things now that we've kind of just like moved completely online. So it is starting to fade. And I feel like this is just something that we need to act on before we actually start losing talent or losing just momentum in the company as a whole.
Yeah, I really appreciate you just addressing that in the first place, actually, because I've had a lot of things to work on, but I've definitely noticed that too. Like the vibes are down in the building. Everything seems like it's just more quiet and people don't seem like they're having as much fun. Everything just seems more like business wise and just more transactional relationships been going on. So I definitely do agree with that. But what were you thinking that we could do to change this though?
Yeah, I do have a couple ideas if you have a few minutes extra.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, these are all, I feel like these are good because they're all low cost ideas and they are tied directly into what we've been talking about recently. So, some of it is based on this Forbes article that I found because I was looking around trying to find some stuff that I felt like could help us out. I did send it to your email if you want to take a chance to look that over as well. I felt like a lot of the stuff was helpful, but some of this is tied directly into that. So, I could walk you through some of the stuff though before, you go over that later.
Hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
So the first thing that I had was kind of just like having autonomy with support. We've already embraced the whole flexible work style, but I feel like there's just a little bit more that we could do to go further. Part of this is just like really emphasizing that it's not all about like the hours that people are putting in. Because if that was all that we cared about, then we would still have people coming in here and just working their 8 hour day. But what we really want from this is I feel like we need to emphasize that it's about the results, like what we're getting at the end of the day, not how long were you on your computer and how long were you moving your mouse around. And like, we have all of those like logistics, we get those in our report. But I feel like alongside that, it would be really helpful if maybe we set up like some like 15-minute weekly one-on-ones, not anything too crazy that we couldn't handle, just to like ask for like updates. We could ask about people's lives, like how are they doing, and just get like their inside like personal view of what's working with the company, what's getting in your way, like what is holding us back. I did like take the liberty of doing this with two of the team leads already, just to get a little bit of a idea of like how it would work out. And honestly, just adding that little touch point did open up some conversations that I felt like I was missing out on a lot. One of the shift leads actually, she told me that she's been feeling really isolated at work recently. And I had never noticed that. And I probably wouldn't have if we hadn't had that little extra talk.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's definitely a good balance and it shows that we care about what's going on with them. So I think that would be a great thing to try to implement into what we do, just to let everybody know that we are a team and we do care what's going on just around the office and not even just the office. Like they could let us know what's going on at their personal life as well. I think it's good for everybody to feel a certain level of transparency throughout. So I think that's definitely a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, the second point that I did want to get into was, doing more to show personal recognition. It's like we were talking about earlier, people just aren't really getting shown how much value they have in the company to us. Because just because everybody's at home doesn't mean that they're not still craving a little bit of extra validation. And I feel like some stuff we could do is just like small gestures to really like show them that we do care. I had like a little bit of a proposal for a simple recognition system. Shout outs for birthdays, sending out a little email to everybody to, shout out for blah blah blah's birthday today. Hope you have a great day. Even like doing stuff like for project completions, maybe we send out a little email congratulating if somebody gets something done early or it like is really beneficial for the company. And another thing was, we don't really get to see these new hires as much anymore. I know we get to work with them a little bit when they're training, but maybe we could get them like some welcome kits, $10 gift card rewards, handwritten notes, just like, shout outs and team emails. I feel like it could go a long way to just show everybody like, hey, we still see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for sure. Just them type of small gestures like that definitely go a long way to people's personal lives. So I think that'll be a good way to build some type of camaraderie just throughout what we've been doing and definitely accomplish some goals that we've been trying to do. So I think that's really good for people, just especially when they're sitting home at their desk. They definitely could feel very far away from what's going on. So. I think that's a good idea as well.
Yeah, for sure. And, I'm sure you feel the same way about this, but, our relationship, I feel like we never would have really gotten to this point if it weren't for, back in the day when we first started working at the company, when we had those water cooler moments, just hanging out with each other in the break room, getting a little informal, we
Hmm.
pretty much, that was kind of how we started our relationship. And I might not feel as comfortable coming to you with these kinds of things if it weren't for that. So I had kind of like a little bit of an idea to get us back to that. So what I was going to propose is maybe we could start like a virtual coffee chat on Slack since we already use the program. We could do random pairings maybe between coworkers once every other week, just to talk, touch base for 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything like about work. You can talk about your favorite TV show, what's going on right now. doesn't have to be an
Yeah.
agenda and it doesn't have to feel forced. I just love to launch something like that, on Slack. I feel like that could be really beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I think that'd be good too, just to have that type of peer-to-peer feedback, just to help build some camaraderie throughout what's going on. Because those little social interactions definitely go a wrong way, and people could use them. Just especially like we keep emphasizing, just going through like managing virtually. Like we're referring to that, it's better to have any type of interactions that we could have. So I think that's definitely we should try to do that as well.
Yeah, I feel like that could also help a little bit with the fact that, like, right now everything kind of feels so scheduled and it's like it's so formal and it's like, we're all working on this agenda, but I feel like if we could make space for just having those spontaneous connections, and I feel like that could also go a long way to help people build relationships outside of work too.
For
And
sure.
that also is what I miss most about the office as well.
Me too. Just like bringing it back to how it was before. I think that's really important too. Yeah, we need to get back to something like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's not exactly like I'm not trying to reinvent our whole system or anything, but I'm just trying to, yeah, the whole point of this was just for me to give you a few touch points that I kind of felt like could help people and from just talking to some of our coworkers and stuff like that. And this is, it's my job just to like help you touch base with the people who are a little bit lower down, and just I feel like this could help people feel more connected, more appreciated, and honestly, just make the whole workspace feel a little bit more human.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Drew, because sometimes I might not necessarily have my feet on the ground, but I definitely need somebody like you. That's why I hired you in the first place, to be transparent with me and help me with certain things like this. So I definitely appreciate it. And I love the ideas that you came up with. So I think we should actually start to get a pilot team together, see how it goes, and if the engagement with a lot of these things pick up, then we could just expand it throughout the whole entire business. So I definitely thank you for thinking this through and bringing it up to me in the first place. And this is definitely the type of leadership that we need. So thanks, Drew.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. I mean, that's what I'm here for. And, really, if there's anything else that I can do, or if you need some help on that pilot team, I would be more than happy to help you out.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. It was great meeting, man. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Great
much.
talking to you.